I don't love you anymore, Mark. Not until you apologize to David. Those words hung in the air like poison gas. I sat there, fork halfway to my mouth, trying to process what my wife had just said. The chicken parmesan I'd been looking forward to all day suddenly tasted like cardboard in my mouth. My name is Mark the Mose, and I'm about to tell you how my 7-year marriage ended over dinner on a Tuesday night because of a man I barely remembered from a decade ago. Caroline wouldn't look at me. Her eyes were fixed on her plate, but her hands were trembling. That's when I knew this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. She'd been planning this. Rehearsing it. David Brennan? I set my fork down carefully, the way you'd set down a live grenade. Your ex from 10 years ago? She finally looked up, and I didn't recognize the woman staring back at me. You know what you did. I wanted to laugh. Or scream. Or both. Instead, I just stared at her. Caroline, I have no idea what you're talking about. He told me everything. Her voice was cold, clinical. Like she was diagnosing a patient at the hospital where she worked as a nurse. How you sabotaged our relationship. How you lied to him about me cheating. How you showed him fake evidence to break us up. The accusation was so absurd, so completely detached from reality, that I couldn't form words for a moment. I'd been friends with Caroline back then, nothing more. I barely knew David except as the guy who made her cry for 3 months straight after he dumped her out of nowhere. I didn't do any of that. My voice came out calmer than I felt. David's lying to you. She shook her head, and I saw it then. She'd already made up her mind. Before this conversation even started, she'd chosen to believe him over me. He has no reason to lie. He's trying to heal. He wants closure. And I'm what? Just supposed to apologize for something I didn't do? If you loved me, you would. Her eyes were wet now, but not with the kind of tears that invite comfort. These were angry tears. Righteous tears. Until you make this right, I can't love you. I can't even look at you the same way. I pushed back from the table. The chair scraped against our hardwood floors we'd refinished together last summer, laughing as we got more stain on ourselves than the wood. That memory felt like it belonged to different people now. Where are you going? She demanded. To pack. Her face went pale. What? You heard me. I walked toward our bedroom, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. If you believe him over me, there's nothing left to talk about. Please like, share and subscribe for my interesting story. She followed me into the bedroom, panic creeping into her voice. Mark, you're being dramatic. We need to talk about this. I pulled my duffel bag from the closet, the one I used for weekend fishing trips with my crew from the construction site. There's nothing to talk about. You've already decided I'm guilty. That's not fair. Fair? I stopped packing and looked at her. Really looked at her. You chose to believe a man you haven't seen in a decade over the husband you wake up next to every single morning. You want to talk about fair? I grabbed shirts, jeans, my work boots. Just the essentials. My hands moved on autopilot while my brain tried to catch up with what was happening. 7 years. 7 years of building a life together, and it was ending because of a ghost from her past. I paused at our wedding photo on the dresser. Caroline in her mother's vintage lace dress, me in the suit I'd saved 3 months to afford. We looked so happy. So sure. My finger traced her face in the picture, and for a moment I almost put the bag down. Almost begged her to believe me. Then I remembered my mother's face. The way she'd spent 20 years trying to prove herself to my father. A man who accused her of cheating every time she smiled at a store clerk or came home 5 minutes late. I watched her shrink year after year, decade after decade, until there was nothing left of the vibrant woman she'd been. She died at 54, exhausted from a lifetime of being second-guessed. August, she started therapy. Said she needed to work through some old trauma from her past. I encouraged it. Thought it was healthy. September, the distance between us became a chasm. She stopped saying I love you first. Stopped initiating anything, conversations, sex, plans. It was like living with a polite stranger who happened to share my last name. And now October. The ultimatum. The end. Lying there in that motel room, I finally saw it clearly. David had been working on her for 6 months. Slowly poisoning her against me. And I'd been too trusting, too secure in our marriage to see it happening. My phone buzzed again around 2 a.m. I turned it back on out of habit. Another text from Caroline. David's coming over tomorrow. To talk. I think it will help give me perspective. I sat up so fast the room spun. David. Coming to my house. The house I still paid the mortgage on. Meeting with my wife to discuss how I'd supposedly ruined their relationship a decade ago. The rational part of my brain said to ignore it. Let her figure this out on her own. But another part, The part that still loved her despite everything, screamed that this was a mistake, that she was walking into something dangerous. I called her. She answered on the first ring. Mark? Don't let him in the house. Silence. Then, excuse me? Caroline, please. I know you don't believe me, but something's wrong with this whole thing. The timing, the story, the way he's inserting himself into your life. He's not inserting himself. He's trying to heal. We both are. From what? A relationship that ended 10 years ago that I had nothing to do with? You're jealous. Her voice was cold again. You can't stand that I'm getting closure without you. I'm concerned. There's a difference. Well, I don't need your concern. I need you to take responsibility for what you did. She hung up. I sat there holding my dead phone, feeling helpless. This was a train wreck in slow motion and I couldn't stop it. Couldn't even warn her effectively because she'd decided I was the villain of her story. By morning I'd made a decision. If Caroline wanted to believe David's lies, fine. I couldn't control that. But I could control whether I stuck around to watch it destroy me. I found a one-bedroom apartment across town, signed a 6-month lease and paid first and last month's rent with money from our savings account. Money I'd earned, so technically not theft, but it still felt wrong. My foreman Joe helped me move what little I'd taken. He didn't ask questions, just showed up with his truck and his teenage son. We loaded my stuff in silence and when we were done, Joe clapped me on the shoulder. Whatever's going on, brother, you'll get through it. I wished I believed him. That afternoon, my sister Jessica called. Caroline just told me you left. What the hell happened? I gave her the short version. Jessica, being Jessica, immediately called bullshit. That doesn't sound like you at all. And honestly, it doesn't sound like the David I remember either. You knew him? Barely. But I remember when he and Caroline broke up. He was intense about it. Kept showing up at her dorm, demanding to talk. She had to get an RA involved. Does she not remember that? Something cold settled in my stomach. She never mentioned that part. Because she probably blocked it out. It was traumatic for her. Jessica paused. Mark, I saw him last week. At Riverside Bistro. He was with a woman. Okay. A woman wearing a wedding ring. And they were fighting. But he grabbed her wrist and she was crying, trying to leave. My hands tightened on my phone. Did you tell Caroline? I tried to yesterday. She hung up on me. Said I was taking your side without knowing the truth. That sounds about right. I sank onto my new used couch in my empty apartment. Jess, I think he's manipulating her. But I can't prove it and she won't listen to me. Then we find proof. My sister had that tone in her voice, the one that meant she was going into protective mode. Because I'm not watching you get steamrolled by some psycho ex-boyfriend without a fight. Caroline's not yours to protect anymore. She made her choice. She's my friend. And she's making a huge mistake. Sometimes friends need protection from themselves. After we hung up, I sat in the silence of my new place and tried to imagine a future without Caroline. Couldn't do it. 7 years was a long time to build a life with someone. You don't just disconnect those roots overnight. But maybe that was the point. Maybe roots were supposed to hurt when they tore. 3 days passed. I threw myself into work, taking every extra shift I could get. 12, 14-hour days on the construction site. My crew noticed I was different, quieter, harder working, less willing to laugh at their jokes, but they didn't pry. Construction guys understood that sometimes a man needed to work through his demons with a hammer and some lumber. On day 4, Jessica showed up at the site during lunch. She looked worried. I tried calling Caroline yesterday. Multiple times. She's not picking up. And Mark? Her car's been at the house for 2 days straight. She hasn't gone to work. That cold feeling in my gut intensified. Maybe she's sick. Her sister-in-law doesn't just stop going to work without telling anyone. Jessica pulled out her phone, showed me Caroline's Instagram. The last post was from 3 days ago, a photo of a coffee cup with the caption, "Sometimes healing means facing hard truths." The coffee shop in the background looked familiar. Then I placed it, Dante's Coffee. The place near campus where Caroline used to meet David for their catch-up sessions. She's with him. The words tasted like battery acid. Mark? She's choosing him. Fully. Completely. I stood up, brushed sawdust off my jeans. There's nothing I can do about that. You could fight for her. She doesn't want me to. She wants me to apologize for something I didn't do. I won't humiliate myself like that. I won't become my mother. Jessica knew that story. Knew why it mattered. She nodded slowly. Okay. But will you at least let me do some digging? Into David? Because my gut says something's really wrong here. Do what you want. But leave me out of it. I picked up my hammer and went back to work. That night, alone in my apartment, I finally looked at Caroline's social media. I'd been avoiding it, but curiosity won. Her recent posts were all about healing journeys, and releasing toxic patterns, and choosing yourself. The comments were full of her friends supporting her, not knowing what was really going on. Then I saw it. A comment from David Brennan, "Proud of you for prioritizing your truth. Some people never learn accountability, but you're better than that. Red heart." The emoji made me want to punch through my laptop screen. I clicked on his profile. It was perfectly curated. Photos of him in scrubs looking heroic. Photos of him at charity events looking compassionate. Photos of him hiking, cooking, reading. The image of a man who had his life together. But there was something off about it all. Too perfect. Too calculated. Like he was creating a character rather than sharing a life. I scrolled back. Way back. And that's when I found something interesting. A photo from 2 years ago, David with a woman. Beautiful, blonde, smiling. The caption, "My better half." Lucky doesn't begin to cover it. Tagged, Amanda Brennan. His wife. The one Jessica said he was divorcing. Except the photo was still up. No divorce announcements. No conscious uncoupling posts. Just nothing. The woman disappeared from his feed after that photo, like she'd been erased. I screenshot everything and sent it to Jessica with a message, "Find out what happened to Amanda Brennan." Her response came fast, "Already on it." The next morning, I woke to 17 missed calls from Caroline. My heart jumped. Maybe she'd realized the truth. Maybe she wanted to fix things. I called back. She answered immediately. "Mark, I need you to come home. Now." "Caroline, please." Her voice cracked. "I found something. In my storage unit. Old emails and journals. Mark, I was wrong. David lied about everything." The relief was so intense it made me dizzy. "I'm coming." "No, wait." She was crying now. "David's coming over in an hour. He doesn't know I found out. I'm going to confront him, get him to admit it." "Do not do that. Caroline, if he's been lying about this, who knows what else he's capable of. I have to know the truth. I have to hear him say it. Then I'm coming with you. He won't talk if you're there. Please, Mark. Trust me on this." Trust. The word that had destroyed us, now the word she needed from me. "At least put me on the phone in your pocket. So I can hear. So if anything goes wrong." "Okay. Yes. That's smart." I heard her moving around, probably cleaning or pacing. Nervous energy. "I'm so sorry. God, Mark, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. I should have. We'll deal with that later. Right now, focus on staying safe. Record everything. And if anything feels off, anything at all, you get out of there. Promise me." "I promise." "Caroline?" I hesitated. "I love you. Even after everything, I still love you." She sobbed. "I love you too. I never stopped. I was just, he got in my head. He made me doubt everything. We'll fix this. But first we get through today." After we hung up, I sat in my truck outside her house. Our house, waiting. She called me back at 2:47 p.m. Left the line open. I could hear her breathing, heard her footsteps as she paced. Then the doorbell rang. "David, come in." Caroline's voice was steady. Impressively steady. "Caroline." David's voice was smooth, warm. "You sounded upset on the phone. Is everything okay? I need to talk to you about something." Footsteps. They were moving to the living room. "About what you told me. About Mark sabotaging our relationship." "What about it?" Still warm, but something underneath now. "Careful. I found some old things. Emails. Messages. From when we broke up." Pause. "They don't match what you told me, David." The warmth vanished. "What do you mean?" "I mean you lied. You broke up with me because you saw me becoming friends with Mark. You were jealous. You sent me horrible messages after, blaming me for things I didn't do. Mark never interfered with us. He barely knew you." Silence. Long enough that I almost called out, almost drove my truck through the front door. Then David laughed. Not his warm, charming laugh. Something else. Something cold. "Smart girl. Took you long enough." "What? Did you really think I just ran into you at that gala? I've known where you've been for years, Caroline. I've been planning this for a long time." My blood turned to ice. "Planning what?" Caroline's voice shook now. "Getting you back. You were mine first. Mark stole you. So I'm taking back what's mine. Simple as that. I'm not a possession, David. I was never yours. We'll see about that." His voice dropped. Where's your phone, Caroline? What? Your phone. Where is it? Because I'm betting Mark's listening right now. Aren't you, Mark? I couldn't stay silent. Touch her and I'll kill you. David laughed again. There he is. The hero. Caroline, did you know your husband's been following me? Taking pictures? That's stalking technically. I could press charges. You're insane. Caroline's voice was stronger now, angry. Get out of my house. Our house. Or it will be once Mark's out of the picture permanently. Speaking of which, his new girlfriend? Elena from work? She's lovely. Would be a shame if something happened to her. I was already driving. Called 911 with one hand, drove with the other. My wife's in danger. 437 Maple Street. Man threatening her. On the phone I heard Caroline scream. Get away from me. Don't make this hard, baby. I've been patient. 6 months of listening to you talk about your boring life, pretending to care about your nursing stories, building trust. That's over now. You're coming with me or people you love start getting hurt. I heard struggling. Something broke, glass maybe. Caroline. I was 5 minutes away. 5 minutes too far. Then a new voice. Let her go. Now. Who the hell? Who are you? David sounded startled. Someone who doesn't take kindly to men who threaten women. Caroline, go to your bedroom and lock the door. Elena? Caroline sounded confused. Elena. My colleague from work. But how was she? That's right, Caroline. Now move. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but the police. You think you can stop me? David's voice was ugly now, all pretense gone. I'm a surgeon. I know exactly where to cut. The phone went dead. I broke every traffic law getting there. Pulled up just as police cruisers arrived, sirens wailing. Ran past the officers trying to stop me, burst through my front door. Elena was standing in my living room, breathing hard, holding one of my baseball trophies like a weapon. David was on the floor, moaning, holding his groin. Must have been one hell of a kick. Caroline. I took the stairs 3 at a time. Pounded on the bedroom door. Baby, it's me. It's Mark. You're safe. The door opened. She fell into my arms, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. I held her, one hand tangled in her hair, the other around her waist, and just let her break. Behind us, I heard police reading David his rights. Heard him screaming that this was all a misunderstanding, that Caroline had invited him over. It's over, I whispered into her hair. He can't hurt you anymore. But I was wrong. So terribly wrong. At the police station, Detective Lawrence took our statements. David had already lawyered up, wasn't talking. The detective looked tired, like he'd seen this movie before. Here's the problem, he said. Guy threatens your wife, yeah, that's criminal threatening. But he didn't touch her. Didn't actually hurt anyone. Best we can do is a restraining order and maybe some stalking charges, but those are hard to make stick. He admitted to manipulating her for 6 months. To planning to hurt people. My hands were shaking with rage. I have it on recording. Might not be admissible depending on consent laws. And even if it is, would be a shame if something happened, isn't a direct threat. Good lawyer will get that tossed. Detective Lawrence leaned forward. Look, between us, I believe you. This guy's bad news. But belief doesn't equal proof. So what are you saying? Elena spoke for the first time. She'd been quiet since we got here, almost too quiet. He just walks. I'm saying be careful. Document everything. Any contact, any sightings, anything weird at all. Build a case. He paused. And I'm saying that David Brennan's ex-wife filed a restraining order 2 years ago. Same pattern, stalking, harassment, threats. Case got dropped when she suddenly withdrew her complaint and left the state. Caroline went pale. Where is she now? Can we talk to her? Detective Lawrence's face told us the answer before his mouth did. Amanda Brennan died 6 months ago. Single-car accident on a straight road in broad daylight. No explanation for why she lost control. The room went silent. You think he killed her? It wasn't a question. I think you both need to be very careful. That night, we all ended up at my apartment. Me, Caroline, Elena, and Jessica, who'd heard about everything and rushed over. We sat in my living room trying to process. He's going to come after us, Caroline said quietly. He's not going to just stop. No, he's not. Elena stood up, started pacing. Men like David don't stop. They escalate. How do you know so much about this? I asked. And how did you just happen to be at the house? Elena stopped pacing. Looked at all of us. I'm former FBI. Left the bureau 2 years ago after a case went wrong. A domestic violence victim I was protecting got killed because we couldn't move fast enough. I blamed myself. Quit. Took a quiet job in construction management. We all stared at her. You've been investigating David, Jessica said. Since Caroline's restaurant freakout. Something about this whole thing felt off. So I did some digging. She pulled out her laptop. David's got burner phones. Fake social media accounts monitoring all of you. Rental car receipts that place him at locations he claimed he never visited. Including outside Amanda Brennan's house the week before she died. That's not legal evidence, I said. No. But it tells us who we're dealing with. Elena pulled up more files. He's been documenting everything about Caroline's life. Work schedule, grocery store habits, gym times. Mark, he knows about your mother at Shady Grove Retirement Home. Jessica, he knows where your kids go to school. Jessica went white. My children? He's building leverage. Information to use as threats. Classic control tactic. Elena closed her laptop. We need to trap him. Get him to confess on record, somewhere that will hold up in court. How? Caroline asked. We give him what he wants. Or make him think we're giving him what he wants. Elena looked at Caroline. You call him. Say you want to meet. Alone. That you've realized he was right about everything. Are you insane? I stood up. After what just happened. It's the only way. I'll be wired. You'll all be nearby. And this time we'll have cameras, audio, everything legally obtained. Elena's eyes were hard. I let one woman die because I wasn't fast enough. I'm not letting it happen again. Caroline stood too. I'll do it. No. Mark. She took my hands. He's already destroyed 6 months of our marriage. I won't let him destroy the rest of our lives. We end this now. I wanted to argue. Wanted to lock her away somewhere safe. But I saw the determination in her eyes, the same determination that made me fall in love with her 7 years ago. Okay, I said. But we do this smart. We do this right. And at the first sign of danger, we pull the plug. Elena nodded. Agreed. I'll set it up. Tomorrow night. Public place, lots of exits, easy surveillance. We get him to confess and this time it sticks. The next 24 hours were the longest of my life. Elena turned my apartment into a command center. She had equipment I didn't ask about. Cameras, microphones, tracking devices. Jessica helped Caroline practice what to say, how to lead David into confessing without making it obvious. I mostly paced and tried not to imagine all the ways this could go wrong. That evening, Caroline called David from a burner phone Elena provided. Put it on speaker so we could all hear. He answered on the first ring. Caroline? It's me. Her voice was perfect, scared, uncertain, exactly what he'd want to hear. I've been thinking about what you said. Which part? He sounded cautious. About Mark. About us. About everything. She took a shaky breath. I think I made a mistake. Running from you. I think I've been running from the truth for 10 years. Silence. I could practically hear him calculating, deciding if this was a trap. What changed your mind? He finally asked. Sitting with the police. Listening to them talk about you like you're some kind of monster. But I remember the David I fell in love with. The kind one. The one who brought me soup when I was sick. The one who believed in me when I wanted to quit nursing school. Her voice broke convincingly. That's the David I want to remember. That's the David I think I still love. More silence. Then, where's Mark? I don't know. Don't care. He made his choice when he wouldn't apologize. I'm done protecting him. The restraining order was his idea, not mine. I didn't want to press charges, David. I wanted to understand. To hear your side without him interfering. Perfect. She was perfect. Okay. He let out a long breath. Okay. When can I see you? Tonight. Dante's Coffee. 8 o'clock. Just us. Like old times. I'll be there. He hung up. Elena was already moving. Okay, we've got 2 hours. Mark, Jessica, you'll be in the van monitoring feeds. I'll be inside as a customer. Caroline wears the wire, gets him to confess. Simple. Nothing about this felt simple. At 7:45, Caroline and I sat in the surveillance van outside Dante's Coffee. She was wired up, Elena had done a test run, everything was working. But she looked terrified. You don't have to do this, I said for the 100th time. Yes, I do. She touched my face. Mark, I need you to know something. Whatever happens tonight, I love you. I never stopped. He didn't make me stop loving you. He just made me doubt myself. Doubt us. And I'll spend the rest of my life making that up to you if you'll let me. I kissed her. Art. Desperate. Come back to me. Always. She got out of the van and walked into the coffee shop. Elena followed 30 seconds later. Jessica and I watched the feeds, 3 different camera angles, perfect audio. David was already there, sitting in a corner booth. He stood when Caroline entered, and even through the grainy camera feed I could see his smile. Predatory. Victorious. They sat. Ordered coffee. Made small talk. My leg bounced with nervous energy. He's testing her. Elena's voice came through our earpiece. Watching for tells. Caroline's doing good. Stay calm. 10 minutes of meaningless conversation. Then David leaned in. So you're really done with him? I'm really done. Caroline's hand shook as she reached for her coffee. I can't believe I wasted 7 years with someone who would lie like that. Who would ruin our relationship just to have me for himself. That's exactly what he did. David took her hand. But we're together now. That's what matters. Tell me what happened. Back then. I need to understand the whole story. And David, convinced he'd won, told her everything. How he'd seen Caroline and me getting closer in our friend group. How it made him crazy with jealousy. How he'd manufactured the breakup to hurt her, make her come running back. When she didn't, he'd spiraled. Failed at relationships. Built his career but felt empty. When I saw you at that gala, it was like fate, he said. A second chance. So I made a plan. I'd get you to doubt Mark. Break your marriage. And this time I wouldn't let you go. What about Amanda? Caroline's voice was steady. Your wife. David's face changed. Darkened. She wasn't you. She tried to be, but she wasn't. And when she wanted to leave, he trailed off. What did you do, David? What I had to. He said it so casually. Like he was discussing the weather. She was going to the police. Going to ruin everything. So I fixed it. In the van, Jessica grabbed my arm. Did he just... He confessed to murder, I breathed. But Caroline wasn't done. And now that we're together, what happens to Mark? To Elena? To everyone who got in our way? David smiled. It was the smile of a man who'd already decided their fate. They learn that you don't take what's mine. Especially Mark. He needs to understand there are consequences. What kind of consequences? He leaned in closer, whispered something we couldn't hear over the coffee shop noise. Caroline's face went white. She stood up abruptly. I need to use the restroom. In our earpiece, Elena hissed, something's wrong. She broke protocol. I was already moving out of the van toward the coffee shop. Inside, I saw David standing too, watching Caroline walk toward the back. His hand went to his pocket. Elena intercepted him. Excuse me, you dropped this. She held up a napkin. It gave me the seconds I needed. I reached the back hallway just as Caroline stumbled out of the restroom, face pale, phone to her ear. What's wrong? He has people watching your mother. Right now. He showed me a photo. Real time. If I don't leave with him in the next 5 minutes, they hurt her. My world tilted. He's bluffing. What if he's not? Her eyes were wild with panic. Mark, I can't, your mother? Behind us, David appeared. There you are. Ready to go, baby? I stepped between them. She's not going anywhere with you. Mark the Moss. The hero returns. David pulled out his phone, held up a photo. My mother, in her room at Shady Grove, watching TV. A man's shadow in the doorway. One text and she has an unfortunate accident. Old people fall all the time in nursing homes. You're insane. I'm determined. There's a difference. He looked at Caroline. Come with me now or I push send. Caroline started to move toward him. I grabbed her arm. No. Mark. He's going to hurt her anyway. And then he'll hurt you. That's what men like him do. David's finger hovered over his phone. Last chance. That's when Elena stepped up behind him, gun drawn. Or we take option 3. You put the phone down, put your hands on your head, and maybe you live long enough to see a trial. David spun. You can't. FBI. Or former FBI, but the gun still works the same. She didn't waver. And the 20 cops surrounding this building? They're very current. The color drained from David's face. He looked around, saw the truth. Police were flooding in, customers were being evacuated. It was over. But cornered animals are the most dangerous. David lunged for Caroline, grabbed her, pulled her against him with one arm around her throat. I'll kill her. I swear to God. I moved on instinct. Grabbed his wrist, twisted, using every dirty fighting trick my construction crew had taught me. He let go. Caroline stumbled away. And I hit him. Once, twice, 3 times. Years of rage and fear and betrayal behind every punch. Police pulled me off him. David was on the ground, nose bleeding, screaming. He assaulted me. Assault. I want him arrested. Detective Lawrence walked in, slow and calm. Funny thing. We arrested your associate at Shady Grove 5 minutes ago. Turns out making threats against an elderly woman is also a crime. He leaned down. And Dr. Brennan? We executed a search warrant on your home while you were here. Found some very interesting things in your basement. Photos. Plans. Evidence linking you to Amanda Brennan's death. David's face crumbled. No. No, this wasn't. You can't. David Brennan, you're under arrest for stalking, terroristic threatening, conspiracy to commit murder, and we're working on upgrading to actual murder for Amanda. The detective smiled. It wasn't kind. You have the right to remain silent. I suggest you use it. They dragged him out, still screaming. Still promising revenge. Still refusing to believe he'd lost. I gathered Caroline in my arms. She was shaking, crying, holding on to me like I might disappear. It's over, I whispered. It's really over. But we both knew the truth. The legal battle was just beginning. The healing would take even longer. David had broken something in both of us, something that wouldn't be fixed overnight. Still, we were alive. We were together. And that was enough to start. 6 months later, I sat in a coffee shop. Different coffee shop, better memories, waiting for Caroline. We did this every Sunday now. Met for coffee. Talk. Sometimes about the case against David, which was going strong. Sometimes about our separate therapy sessions. Sometimes about nothing at all. The trial had been brutal. David's lawyers tried everything, claimed I'd manipulated Caroline, that she was an unreliable witness, that the evidence was circumstantial. But Elena's work held up. The jury convicted him on all counts. 25 years minimum. And new evidence had emerged linking him definitively to Amanda's death, so that case was being reopened too. Caroline and I weren't back together. Not really. We were something. Learning to be friends again. Learning to trust again. She'd moved into her own apartment. I'd stayed in mine. We went to couples counseling on Wednesdays and individual therapy on Fridays. Some days were good. Some days we could barely look at each other, the weight of everything that had happened too heavy. But we kept showing up. Kept trying. She walked in now, spotted me, smiled. It was a real smile. Small but real. Hey, she said, sliding into the booth across from me. Hey yourself. We ordered. Made small talk. Easy conversation that felt almost normal. Then she said, I've been thinking. My heart rate picked up. About? About us. About everything. She took my hand. I'll spend the rest of my life earning back your trust. If you'll let me. I looked at our hands intertwined on the table. I'm not there yet. But I'm willing to try. That's all I can ask for. We sat in comfortable silence, not quite lovers but no longer strangers. Somewhere in between. Healing was messy and slow and painful. But it was happening. My hand tightened on hers. She squeezed back. Outside life went on. But in this moment, in this booth, we had something David never understood and never could destroy. A choice. Every day we chose to keep trying. To keep fighting for each other but differently now. With honesty. With patience. With the understanding that trust wasn't given, it was built, brick by careful brick. Was it enough? I didn't know yet. Maybe we'd make it. Maybe we wouldn't. But at least this time we were trying with open eyes and honest hearts. And that, I thought, might just be enough to start rebuilding something real.